Hey everybody, my name is Kevin Hogan. I'm the author of 24 books, including The Science of Influence, Psychology of Persuasion, translated into 43 languages all across the world. The only reason that happened is because you went and you picked them up at the bookstore. Thank you very much for making that possible. Questions create beliefs. There's only a few things that create beliefs for real. One is experiencing something firsthand, usually from a time that you're very, very young. If you went to the Catholic Church when you were a child, you probably ended up becoming a Catholic as an adult. You might have changed, but you became a Catholic as you were 15 years old or whatever. You normally don't change. If you were brought up in some other church or some other structure, some other kind of a lifestyle, you became the things that those lifestyles are. We don't typically rebel against an entire lifestyle. We tend to stay with that kind of an identity for quite a while until something like this happens. Questions create belief. So, say that you go to buy, you're going to buy, say you're going to hire a speaker, okay? I want you to hire me. I want you to hire me. I do. Hey, come on, it'd be fun. So what is your criteria for buying, or in this case, not buying a car, but let's say, what is your criteria for hiring a speaker for your next event? Now the fact is, I have never met anybody. I've been speaking for 20 years. All around the world, I've never seen anybody with a criteria for hiring speakers, but I've had a lot of people tell me what theirs is. Okay, so this is the greatest question in the world, because on the spot, they're going to come up with a criteria for the very first time in their life. No one has ever thought of this. So they're going to say, well, I want somebody who can entertain. I want somebody who can teach us something new, something that we have takeaways that we can actually make happen right away. I want us to have something that will work, that will actually change results and make us more money. Cool. If I can show you how we can do that together, if we come here, I would like to not just do a keynote maybe, which would be 90 minutes, happy to do that, but I'd also do 3 hours if you really want to make all of those things happen. Can I show you how that might work out? It's your decision. I'm asking permission, okay? If you say yes, it would be almost impossible to not get this gig because he's never thought about this before in his life. You're the first person that told him the criteria. You're the first person who's going to solve the criteria. You're going to meet all of the pieces. You're the first person. The first person. How did you do this? You asked one question. That was it. What's your criteria for buying a new car? Nobody has a criteria for buying a new car. Nobody. Nobody. Well, I guess the car has to look nice. It's got to get good gas mileage. It's got to be comfortable for people to drive in. I have to feel good in it when I drive. I got to be able to afford the payments. I got to be able to afford the insurance, right? And now all of a sudden you have 5 criteria that this person never had in their life, and now you have them. You're selling the car, okay? So now you have the criteria. You had no idea what their criteria was. Why? Because they didn't have any, okay? People do not have criteria for what they do in their life. People do things impulse, 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 impulse. You're asking people to create criteria, which is a structure, and then you be the only structure that they will ever talk to. So you're sitting here in front of this person today, they develop criteria, and you say, can I show you a Lexus that I think you might like? If not, no problem. Yeah, let's go look. Boom. They gave me the criteria. This is going to meet all the criteria. The sale will be made. The sale was actually made when you asked the question. Okay, because you're getting the criteria, you're going to meet the criteria. You're not going to say, so does this meet all of your criteria? That's a way to get no every single time. Obviously, whenever you ask somebody for their criteria for anything, you know that you will be able to supply that answer. Okay, and if you can't, in the occasion where you ended up in front of somebody, whether it's for the date or for the business proposition or whatever, you were in the wrong place and you blew it because you didn't do your homework. Every time you're in front of somebody, they should be ready to say yes to you, or at least let me bring in my sales manager and let's talk. That's where you need to be, okay? So what is your criteria for, now let's say that let's go back to that bar setting. I don't go to bars. I think I've been to a bar like twice in the last 10 years. But if it was interesting, and let's just say that I was just an everyday average looking person, okay, just average. And I was sitting here and there's this really beautiful woman, but maybe I'm dressed okay today. Maybe I look okay, but maybe I'm just really normal. But she's out of my league, right? And I'd say, hey, so I sit down and I say, hey, what? 50 men just, told everybody to leave? You told everybody to leave, didn't you? I knew you did. Hey, and then ultimately you get to the question, which would be basically, how do you know if you're gonna date somebody who's not like, and then whoever the Brad Pitt, okay? Whoever the best looking guy on planet Earth is at that time. How do you know if you're gonna do that? Because obviously I know that women do that, And so whatever your situation is, you can ask, you can fit, you fill the criteria, you're right in front of the person, they've never thought about it before, it goes right into the thing, you're the answer to the question, okay? Your job to figure out the elegance of every specific context, but that's how it works, okay? So now I want you to think about this though, because remember, questions create beliefs. Write that down. Questions create beliefs. Choosing and deciding are not the same thing. Choosing and deciding are not the same thing. How do you choose what to believe about Republicans? So I read the Huffington Post every single day. I read the Huffington Post. It's online. And I read it. Why? Because it's liberal and I don't really think like that. So I need to be able to communicate with every human being that I run into at an elegant fashion. The only way I can do that is if I know precisely what everybody is already thinking. And if it's about politics or referencing things that are based upon political votes and issues and all that, then I want to know. So how do you choose what to believe about Republicans? Now, the person has never chosen what to believe about Republicans. They've simply believed about Republicans, right? Or Democrats, or whatever, we don't care. Christians, Muslims, I don't care what it is. It's all the same, okay? How do you choose what to believe about Republicans? Choosing is a physical action. It's like a grip, it's like a hand holding a ball. I choose you, boom, I want your hand, right? Okay, I choose you. All right, that's different than I decide on something. So how do you choose what to believe about Republicans? Okay, and the person is going to tell you, well, I have to learn what they believe. This is not true, right? This is totally not true. But the person's telling you, and once again, you're in a situation to where you're learning their criteria, which they're inventing on the spot right here for you right now, and you're going to be able to communicate whatever message you want to do because you asked them how they choose. The other question here, by the way, is how do you decide? This is not as powerful, it's not as potent, it's also not as incredibly difficult to get the answers to this question. How do you decide what to believe about Republicans? This is all about mental action, okay? This is just about thinking. How do you decide what to believe about Republicans, okay? This is much less tangible, it's less potent, but that can be very, very good for a person who needs to be treated gently, okay? So how do you decide what to believe about Republicans, what to believe about Catholics, what to believe about Muslims, how do you decide? The fact is people don't decide these things, but they will tell you how they decide, even though they don't know how they decide, even though they've never thought about it in their life. They've always just known, I don't like that, but I do feel comfortable over here. And they're going to tell you what the criteria is, and wherever you're going with this, you will now have the answer to the question, because you will be the only person ever to have discovered and created the criteria with them in front of them right now. First person ever to do this. This is how you will create beliefs with questions, and it will work 100% of the time. Okay guys, I will see you here next time.